Everyone, hi, thank you. This is Bruce Mufson from Sunridge of Nevada, and thank you for everybody who's going to be watching and tuning in and giving us comments. As you can see, we have upgraded. We now got a new mic, we got a new camera. And where did this come from? It came from very, very generous listeners and commenters and people that enjoy what we're doing. And we want to say thank you, much appreciation, and thank you for that. Okay, also, I want to say thank you for everyone that has been contacting us with views and with comments. They continue to come in and they're wonderful. And I want to thank those that watched last time and those that are going to be watching this time. I got to give another shout out, though. I just found out last night we had someone from the UK contact us, but because of the time difference, sorry, guys, from across the pond, that they couldn't be able to watch and tune in. Hey, we'll get you next time. We'll figure something out. At this point, we've gotten really comments from every continent with the exception of Antarctica. So we're going to have to work on that a little bit later on down the road, get the penguin vote. But as everyone has come from Africa, Asia, of course, United States, Latin America, Europe, all over. So thank you. I also want to thank again, those comments are great. They are becoming more and more insightful. They're deeper, they're more intense, they're more vivid. And I really appreciate people giving me their thoughts and real feelings and really coming out and just being themselves. Thank you again for that. And yes, we got to do the upgrade because why? You guys have actually given us comments and said to us, hey, we like what you do. We enjoy seeing Bruce, but we want to see better upgrade with quality and with video and with sound. And we totally understand. And that's where we're coming at you guys with this. But please continue to comment and give us your thoughts. We're going to have Q&A towards the end. So if you have any questions, shoot them in. They'll be given to me and I'll address them basically towards the end, and we'll just go from there. Also, this one's going to be a bit of a hybrid. We want to start doing our webinars to give a chance for parents and kids to watch together. This topic, school bullying and how to deal with it and kind of cope with it and how to understand it, is really not just for children, truthfully. It's for parents as well, school administrators, anyone that works with kids really understand bullying on a deeper level. It goes for therapists, probation, parole, law enforcement, court system, understanding juvenile thinking, and really how to really kind of get a better handle and grip on this topic and this perspective that's become so pervasive across America and I'm sure around the world. So here we go. I want to finish off the song by Token that we had done last time because that was our video and now it's going to lead into the webinar. And I want to go over the lyrics and kind of clarify some thoughts that I had written down about the perspective that I saw. It goes like this. We're on verse 3. The next day, Andy didn't show up to school, and I was nervous. He always came to this class. I wonder what was the purpose. Okay, and when you're watching the video, you're rewatching the video of the beatdown and the hoodie over the head, the popcorn incident, tossing over his head at the football game, the library, the chair pulled out from him. What it really reminded me of, honestly, watching that scene several times of prison. To be honest. Where you got to literally look over your shoulder like this and like this, who's coming at you. It reminded me of what cons deal with all the time, where they look out to attack each other, take advantage of each other. So that whole scene really reminded me of being in prison. High school should not be prison. Duh, you get the concept. And it also gave me the concept of teachers who simply were not aware. I don't want to liken them to COs because that's not really a fair assessment to do, but just the teachers just not being aware of what's going on in front of them and picking up on the tells and the cues that you have to be aware of if you're going to work with children at any level, adolescents. And that's also what this video is about, this webinar, is to give parents and students, anyone that's working with children, some battle armor to understand what they're looking at. So it then ends up with the same class, had two kids who've been messing with him, those two bullies, both at a Target, both of them just blended right in. Not really in real life. Generally, bullies kind of stand out for their very reason because of their bullies. 20 minutes later, the class was pretty quiet. As Andy walks through the door, he was shaking and crying. As all heads slowly in sync turned, he pauses, then pulls a pistol out of his front pocket. The girl screamed. The boy sat there terrified. You see everyone kind of running away, looking for cover. Nobody expected this, but everyone knew the reason why. And before anyone could say something fully, within seconds, 2 bullets flew into his bullies, more screams as the bodies collapsed. And it ends up with this. I felt I should have said I should say something because I was the only one who had his back. Okay. And he admits this. He says, like, I thought I had his back. He didn't have his back because Andy had no clue he had his back because there was no acknowledgement he had his back. There's no such thing as like a mind meld that someone's going to understand how you're thinking. You got to communicate and let somebody know, hey, I got your back. I got your back. I got your back. This is one of the key tenets in life. I work with people. I communicate all day long. I talk to my agent / producer all day long. Constant communication. So how would Andy know this? Why? Because he goes, I said, it's over, Andy. They're dead. You had your wish. And then he turned to me and said, you were the third on my list. And then pow, pow. And then, Ben Goldberg token is essentially killed as well. And when you think people know you're fantasizing because they don't know, that's the first stopping of bullies, is to let them know, or let the victim know you got his back. And then let the bullies know it's not going to be tolerated. But just sharing with you that don't ever go with the thing of like, he knows how I feel. He knows how I feel. He knows how she feels. No, they don't know. You got to let them know. And giving people validation is huge, not just in clinical work, but in life in general. So when I go back at 3.45, recapturing the moments, he saw everything but did nothing. Really a silent witness. And he looked at him in the locker room, but he walked away. He was just constantly walking away. All right, question comes up is, why don't you get involved? Why don't people say, look, I'm not going to let people get bullied? All right, here's some common reasons why. Number one, you feel you're going to be the next target. Number two, you believe it's none of your business. Number three, you feel like a tattletale. You feel like also, four, speaking out won't help, especially if they had told teachers who did not take action. I understand all of this. I do. I also understand it from a teaching perspective, like, hey, you got to let the teacher know what's going on. You can't be silent. Code of silence. Don't be a rat. Let that stuff get out of your head. That's just a lot of crap. If you're being bullied, you see somebody being bullied, let them know. Bullies look to isolate. When they see a group of people, that's when they get panicky and they don't want to do anything. They're looking to pick you off one by one. Now, sticks and stones, this thing about words are not going to hurt you, is completely false and fantasy. You get emotional damage, and it's far longer lasting sometimes than physical harm because your self-image is permanently maimed. And that's going to happen even worse if you're going into school already feeling insecure, like, duh, who doesn't go to high school feeling insecure? You're insecure about your looks, insecure about your weight, your body, your sexuality. Am I pretty? Am I ugly? Am I going to be popular? Am I going to have friends? Am I going to be good in sports? Am I going to be smart? Am I going to fit in? If I have a disability, if I have a mental health issue, if I have an IEP, if I'm autistic, if I'm LGBT, if I'm from a different race, if I'm Jewish, if I'm African American, do I stick out with the wrong religion? If I cover my body? All of these things are huge factors when you go into school. And that, if you already are having issues about who you are and people are harassing you and beating you up and destroying you emotionally and physically, your self-image, in my opinion, clinically, is going to be permanently maimed. And if a person has mental illness, already suffering from depression, low functioning, low IQ, again, on the spectrum, they don't call it autism anymore, they're on the spectrum, but they used to call it autism and Asperger's, where you stand out, you're in a wheelchair, where you have problems with understanding things around you, processing, you can easily think about it for the rest of your life. Destroys your self-confidence. When at a point in time, you tend to have it the least. Okay? Stigma of being a target never goes away, and when it does, it takes away your confidence. These are the most formative years, and what happens, instead of growing up crooked, okay, I'm saying you do grow up crooked and you don't grow up straight. So there is factors from this. Okay, now, next phase I want to get into, next passage, is what is bullying in general? It's such a vast, vast term. What is bullying? Okay, bullying is this. If someone is hurting you, humiliating you, exposing you, harassing you, or otherwise harming you. Now, sometimes bullying crosses the line into harassment when it's based on race. Okay, I want to clarify this. Ethnicity, sex. Disability, which means a lot of things, by the way. I'm going to get that in a second. Sexual orientation, national origin, or other factors. In this case, it becomes a legal issue. Now, what is a disability? They kind of vague on this, but here's what it means to me as a clinical social worker. If you have on the spectrum, again, autism, Asperger's, you have a problem socially, mental illness, depression, anxiety, PTSD. If you're in a wheelchair, okay, if you're in special ed, if you're in what they call a resource room, where you got to go for certain classes, if you're in self-contained, where you're in one classroom all day long, it could be also based on religion. I've been a lot of kids that told me they were harassed and beaten because of their religion. Here's the thing, too. What is a self-contained class? That's when you're in a class, the same class all day long. And for a lot of people, they can be victimized by kids in those classes because some of those kids in those self-contained or resource room classes are bullies, and they take it out on other kids. Not just like bad enough getting punched, like you saw with Token's video, punched, hit, beaten up, or given a swirly. That wasn't in the video, but to get the idea. But sexual harassment, I've seen kids do things to other kids sexually who were in those kinds of classroom settings. So you got to be aware of what's going on. Okay, now, another factor which is brand new is that it's interesting because I'm 55 and I look like I'm 80, feel like I'm 80. My agent slash producer is about 35, 20 years younger than me. What's interesting to me is that he grew up obviously in a different perspective when he was going to school. But what else happened in bullying in the last 20 years? It's become cyber. Okay, bullying can also occur quietly and covertly through gossip upon a smartphone or upon the internet, causing emotional damage. That did not exist when I went to school. Obviously, I went to in the time when dinosaurs roamed the earth, and we didn't have that issue. My agent was just kind of getting into, internet and social media, but it was really in its infancy. So he wasn't exposed to this. But now it has changed completely. If I want to look up fight of the week in any local Vegas high school, all I got to do is type in the name of the school and it's going to be there. Boy fights, girl fights, brawls, fights in cafeteria, everything is posted. That's a form of bullying. That's a form of harassment. It's completely changed. Now, there's just recently a case where a girl, this case has gone on for the last couple of years, she told her ex-boyfriend, kill yourself. And the first trial, I believe she was convicted. The second trial, she was acquitted because they were arguing, oh, she was just saying words. She was just saying words. But she was constantly telling this ex-boyfriend, oh, your life's going nowhere. You're not doing anything with your life. Kill yourself. Kill yourself. And unfortunately, ultimately, he did. Here's another factor. How about sexting? Hello. Huge factor. I've dealt with so many girls that felt they had to send pictures of themselves topless or even worse, naked, or in compromising positions. Send it to guys, send it to girls, boom. Next thing you know, posted, viral, the entire school knows, shame, humiliation, embarrassment. Who were they picking on? Girls with low self-esteem, duh. It happens to boys, but obviously far less because girls are the trophy ones. Oh, send me. If you love me, if you care about me. Well, if you have any self-respect for yourself, you're going to say, you know what? Why don't you send me a nude picture of yourself and send new pictures of yourself to all your friends, and let's see how that goes. But that's a form of bullying. So just be aware of this stuff. It all goes on. Also, where does bullying take place? They said here, these are the hot spots: hallways, cafeterias, playgrounds, buses, locker rooms, and classrooms before lessons. So these are the six spots where that seems to be the biggest factor in where and when does bullying occur in those hot zones, so to speak. Again, reminding me of prison, where they got blind spots in prisons, where people know if there's a blind spot, they can get punked, they can get beaten. You don't have it here in showers, but locker rooms, showers in prison, that's a great spot for things to happen. So these are all places that to be aware of from a parent perspective, from a kid perspective. These are places things could happen. Now, what are the effects of bullying? Okay. This is going to kids who are being bullied. All right. Kids who are bullied can experience negative physical, school, and mental health issues. And kids who are bullied are more likely to experience, here we go, depression, huge, huge, huge. Anxiety, increased feelings of sadness and loneliness, changes in your sleep and eating patterns, loss of interest in activities they used to enjoy. And these issues may persist into adulthood. Okay. They also can have issues of being also emotionally withdrawn. Now, depression is always a dead giveaway for me when I see people sleeping excessively. Hey, I'm coming into the house, 7 o'clock. Really tired. What did he do Saturday and Sunday? He was in bed all day. Okay, depression. Depression is often accompanied with lots of sleeping, or they do what they call the vampire. They stay up all night playing video games and crash around 5 o'clock in the morning so they can sleep all day. Get up around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But I call it the vampire effect. They stay up all night playing games, to literally pass out. And then they sleep all day to kill the day. Not doing stuff. Anxiety. I'm nervous. I'm withdrawn. I'm concerned. I'm afraid. Increased feelings of sadness and loneliness. They don't feel good about themselves. They're sad and they're lonely. Changes in sleep and eating patterns. Watch out for that overeating. When I see girls in high school who are 80, 90 pounds, 100 pounds overweight, huge stomachs, triple chins, and they're drowning themselves in like triple cheeseburgers and fries with gravy and chips and junk food and soda, they're dulling themselves. And what's happening is they're becoming more and more of a target because they're getting bigger and bigger, and they're overeating to compensate because they're feeling lousy. I don't really see a lot of kids get skinny, but boy, do I see them get big. Whenever I see a really big kid, I'm like, uh-oh, he is not a happy camper. Something's going on with him. And what are they eating? Not like fruits and veggies and bottled water and kale salads, but chomping on everything that's loaded with sugar and salt. Think about this, though, parents. Think about this, kids. What are you doing? You're basically taking narcotics. You're taking huge amounts of sugar. Salt's not good for you either down the road, but sugar is basically going to just like make you lethargic, put you out. All that soda. Be aware of it. And they lose interest in things they used to enjoy. I used to enjoy playing baseball in the field near our house. I used to enjoy staying after school to gossip with my girlfriends. I used to enjoy being a part of the school play and building the sets. I used to, and now you stop doing that. Now, health complaints, big. What are the health complaints that I see all the time? I see the stomach aches. Ma, my stomach's killing me. I got to go to the bathroom. I got diarrhea. My stomach, I'm cramping. I'm so sick. My period lasts like 5 days. I can't get out of bed. Ma. Headaches. Oh, I got a migraine. Lots of somatic issues. There's constant, my back hurts, my feet hurt, I can't walk. A lot of somatic stuff. You're not sure like what's going on. How is a healthy 16-year-old, how is a healthy 15-year-old constantly having problems like a 70-year-old? It doesn't make sense. You should go to the bathroom and no problem. You should only have migraines rarely, and you should really be in the best shape of your life, but they're constantly having those somatic complaints. Plus, millions of colds and flu. I'm sniffling. I got the flu. I feel blah. Well, yeah, you feel blah because you don't want to go to school. Decreased academic achievement. This is a biggie. That GPA is going to drop and those test scores are going to drop. Also, they're going to likely to miss, skip, or drop out of school. Mom, I'm sick. Honey, you got a test today. I'll make it up. You can't make that stuff up. Once you fall behind, especially in AP kind of classes, you're dead. You can never catch up. So be aware, parents, of these signs with your children and what to look out for. Okay, now, How about kids that like to bully others? How about the parents of those children, or the grandparents, or the foster parents? All right. If you ignore your kid, here is what you can expect that they're going to grow into. Just want you to be aware of this. Kids who bully others can also engage in violent and other risky behaviors into adulthood. They're more likely to abuse alcohol and other drugs in adolescence and as adults, get into fights, vandalize property, and drop out of school. A lot of dropouts. Engage in early sexual activity, have criminal convictions, and be abusive towards their romantic partners, spouses, or children as adults. Well, it kind of makes sense because you think about it, because if you don't get put in check early in life, as you become an adult, you think this is normal. So if you put hands on kids in middle school and high school, then when you have spouses with girlfriends, well, why not continue what you learned and got away with? And when you have children who get annoying, pound them, beat them, hit them, belittle them, and make them feel stupid. That's what's going to happen. Now, there's a huge thing about bullying and suicide, how the two go hand in hand. And you saw from Ben Goldberg from Token, he actually addressed that by saying in the video that he did, which was excellent, hey, if you get bullied, here's what's likely going to happen. Now, most youths, they say this, who are bullied do not have thoughts of suicide or engage in suicidal behaviors. I wanted to point this out. And there are other factors as well that can contribute to suicidal behavior. However, specific groups, be aware, are American Indian, Alaska Native, Asian American, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender youth. That's kind of like, kind of obvious. They stand out. They're more likely, unfortunately, to be abused or picked on. And this risk, it can be increased further when these kids are not supported by parents, peers, and schools. But don't forget, religion is a huge factor. Special ed kids are often more often more humiliated and embarrassed. Kids who have IEPs, kids who have social issues, have problems adjusting, fitting in. I'm not a good athlete. I'm not pretty. I'm a loner. I'm shy. I'm nerdy. All of those are also factors that let kids get bullied. Also, kids that are overweight have issues with that as well. If you're overweight, you're a walking target. Now, here we go. Also, by the way, so far I haven't had any questions pop up, but this is the time right now. Feel free to call in with a question, a comment, a thought, an observation. That's what I'm here for, to be a sounding board for everybody. This webinar right now really is our first one that we're kind of delving into the blend of child and parent, adolescent and parent, high schooler and parent. We've done 70 videos roughly so far. It's our second webinar. We're going to continue to do webinars, but my fantasy and my goal is not just for the kids. I mean, we like, and then, I shouldn't even say kids. We've gotten some people clearly who are in their 30s and 40s and 50s, but we're primarily getting it from adolescents, which is great. That's what the channel is all about. However, I want parents to be involved. That's the biggest thing that, what got me into this whole thing was walking into so many houses and parents were oblivious to what was going on. And your kids need you. Your kids want your support. They want to feel you're vested. Too many times I've walked into homes where it's like, who is in charge? I'm confused myself. Who am I really seeing? So that's not helpful for the kid. This is a topic, though, that's very, very, integral to parents and children working together. If you're bullied, it's a serious, serious issue. I'm going to bring up some statistics right now. So I'm just telling you, I want you to think about what can you do to support your kid. And I also want kids to have the confidence that they tell their parents something. They're not going to be like, oh, forget about it. Homer Simpson advice. There's rules in the playground, and you got to beat up or get beaten up. And you see the look on Bart's face. He's cringing. So that's my whole point is this is a topic, again, you can share with your mom. You can share with your daughter. It's family, grandparents also, we talked about. Now, here are some statistics I wanted to share. 160,000 kids per day skip school because they're afraid of being bullied. It's insane. That's a small city. And when bystanders intervene, bullying stops within 10 seconds, almost 60% of the time. Now, there's 3 B's to bullying. There's the bullier. 30% of youth admit to bullying. There's the bullied. 1 in 3 students are bullied at school, and there's the bystander. 70% have witnessed bullying. So a third, and basically 7/10. Been bullied. 30%, they have 28 here, of U.S. students in grades 6 to 12 have experienced bullying, and 20% of U.S. students in grades 9 to 12 have experienced bullying. So it's not just worse in high school, it's actually worse almost than like in middle school. That's where you kind of get thumped the most. Who witnessed bullying? 70% of young people say they have seen bullying in their schools. Okay. 70% of school staff have seen bullying, and 62% have witnessed bullying 2 or more times in the last month, and 41% witnessed bullying once a week or more. Wow. That's a lot. So you can't say that teachers have no clue what's going on and school administrators have no idea what's going on if 40% of people are saying they've witnessed bullying once a week or more. Wow, that's a lot. Now, who's been cyberbullied? 6% of students in grades 6 to 12 have experienced cyberbullying, and 16% of high school students from grades 9 to 12 were electronically bullied in the past year. Sad. What's the highest group, though? 55% of LGBT students experienced cyberbullying. That's a lot. So again, cyberbullying, it's not just anymore about, hey, I'm going to kick your butt after school or get a swirly or get beaten up or get mocked, bad enough as it is. Now you got the cyberbullying. It's completely different. Now, which are the kids that are going to tend to be bullied the most? Children who are bullied have one or more of the following risk factors. They're perceived as different from their peers, such as being, again, the biggie, overweight or underweight, wearing glasses, right here, different clothing, being new to a school, or being unable to afford what kids consider cool. And that's always going to change. Are perceived as weak, unable to defend themselves, depressed, anxious, have low self-esteem, are less popular than others and have few friends. And the last one's the most interesting to me. Do not get along well with others, seen as annoying or provoking, or antagonizing others for attention. What does that mean? It means this. First of all, again, make sure to look out for your child, but does not get along well with others. They're socially awkward around other people. They're poor with social interactions. Odd kid, doesn't pick up social cues. These are kids that have issues with processing information, learning how to read people on the spectrum. They often struggle with that kind of stuff. And those where they just don't know how to ask the right questions when they're in mainstream classes, and they don't know like how to handle things with hygiene or how to handle being appropriate around other people in a social circle, how not to, usually there's what they call a 3-foot rule when you're talking to somebody. They crowd in very closely, or they go in and out, where they're in your face, out of your face, where they say the same thing over and over again. They get repetitive. So do not get along well with others. They don't understand the situation socially, or they've never been around kids like that, where they're coming from a different environment and they struggle. So that's what it means when people have a tough time with struggling with how to relate to other people. Now, you get a lot of statistics. Here are 8 ways to avoid bullies at school. Okay. And this came to me from Very Well Family. And by the way, give me 1 second. Let me get a shout out here. The effects of bullying came from stopbullying.gov. Okay, bullying and statistics came from American SPCC. And of course, I got my man Ben Goldberg's lyrics right here. And the psychological effects of bullying on kids and teens came from Masters in Psychology Guide. Okay, now this came from Very Well Family, 8 ways to avoid bullies at school. How to avoid becoming a target of bullying. They're giving you suggestions. One of them is appear confident, okay? Because bullies look for kids that display insecurity, fear, and low self-esteem. Okay, how they respond, how they hold their head, how do you tall, are you slumped? However, teaching kids to appear confident is sometimes easier than teaching them to tell the bully to stop or have a witty comeback. Okay, you have to practice this, because what if a child's in special ed and they don't know how to have any kind of how to look confident. They already feel lousy about themselves for a lot of kids in special ed. You got to teach them that stuff. And it also makes sense about appearing confident. And I thought about this when I read this over a few times. It makes sense why kids join gangs. By myself, I'm not confident. 40 other guys dressed like me and have my back, suddenly I'm a lot more confident. Knife or gun in hand makes me even more confident. Okay, I'm about halfway through right now. So again, we're question free so far. We're looking for your questions and comments. Anything you want to say, feel free to do so. That's what I'm here for. But it makes sense now why people are so likely to go ahead and join a gang is because, again, by myself, I don't feel confident. But again, 40 guys wearing the same hat as me, the same T-shirt as me, having the same gang sign, the same hand sign as me, and they all congregate in the same area as me. Once again, now I feel a lot more confident, and that's what leads to, in a sense, why gangs are so pervasive. Now, make eye contact. They're saying here to teach your child to make firm eye contact and send a nonverbal message that says knock it off. And eye contact communicates self-confidence and self-esteem. And bullies are more likely to back off if a potential target looks them right in the eye. Because they're looking for kids that are anxious, insecure, and more likely to look down. However, again, reality can also backfire as it could be seen as a challenge. You looking at me? Be careful with this one. Okay, next one was let go of victim thinking. You don't want your kid to get stuck in the mindset of I'm a victim forever, I'm a victim for life. Then you're going to chronically feel like a victim. Help him find ways to move out of this painful situation and get through it. Being a victim of bullying does not define who he is as a person. I've had people come up to me as an adult and say, because I was victimized as a kid, bullied all the time, I feel like I'm a loser. I couldn't offer anything to anybody. Be assertive. There's a difference between aggressive and assertiveness. Assertive people stand up for their rights and are comfortable defending themselves or others against unfairness. They use a strong and confident voice to get their point across in a respectful manner. Basically, encourage your kids to think like that. But the point is in this one is stand up for yourself. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. What does bullies hate the most? That in darkness is light. There's someone speaking up. They hate that. I don't know if you guys remember the movie where they had ants, where they had the guy say, when Hopper comes back, played by the late Kevin Spacey, with his own issues, when they came back and said, hey, there was that one ant that spoke up. And if everyone thinks like that, they're not going to give us any food. And that was the hero Flick in the movie. Spoke up, said something. Here's another thing also, self-esteem. Who builds self-esteem the most? You as parents. You build the most self-esteem for your child. And parents are the number one builders of this. It's a core component of bullying prevention. Kids with a healthy self-esteem are more confident and capable. And bullies are also looking for an easy target because they're not looking for a hard target, looking for an easy target. You got good self-esteem, a bully's going to have a hard time getting into your coconut, getting into your head. They often steer kids clear of kids that are comfortable in their own skin. That means that they like themselves. When you like yourself, what bullies say to you kind of bounce off. This is a lesson in life as well. When you like yourself, your crazy coworkers don't affect you. Nurture friendships. Who do bullies seek out? They're like sharks. They're looking for the lone straggler. Lack connections, we're isolated and target them. Kids who have friends are less likely to be bullied. Okay, having friends also makes it easy if they are being bullied to overcome bullying, and friends can reassure your child that the things that the bully says or does not define them. In other words, don't be a loner, but seek out healthy friendships, real friends. There is a reason for the quote, because there's safety in numbers. How did MS-13 start? You want to know how it started? We had refugees from El Salvador that went to LA schools. What happened? They got bullied by other minorities. So what they do? They clicked up. They're all from El Salvador. They're all getting thumped. And that's how MS-13 got started. Because kids who were being bullied, they looked out for each other, and that's what will happen. Be aware of bullying hotspots. We talked about this before. locker room, the bathroom, the lunchroom, the playground with the school bus. And other option is sitting near the school bus or say in highly visible areas during recess. Again, it's sad that sounds like prison to me a lot of times, where prisoners know which places to strike others and have their blind spots with no cameras. Don't look for the bus driver to be a hero. A lot of times they're older people that they're scared to drive the bus. They don't have patience for 50 kids that they're driving. They just want to get the kids home as soon as possible or to school as soon as possible. They're not going to see what's going on. So don't rely on the bus driver necessarily to be a hero. Here's the last one. Put the responsibility for bullying where it belongs. Schools are great at this. We've tried everything. He comes from a broken home or she comes from a broken home. He or she has issues. Your son or daughter is also part of this problem. Family is a benefactor. Family is connected. Parents work here. I.e., that's not your problem. Hold the bully accountable. As a result, because what happens is that the people who bully believe that they did something to cause it, something is wrong with them. As a result, victims often don't tell anyone what's going on. Teach the kids that bullying is a choice made by the bully. No one has to be bullied. Okay, that's very well family. Now, here we go. What do you do now? Okay, we get it if it's just a kid. We got it now. We got the statistics. We got the facts. We're good. What do you do when the bully is a teacher? I know people are kind of thinking like, is that possible? It does happen. It happens more often than you think. So what do you do when the teacher is the bully? This came from Pop Sugar Moms. And she said that this one woman talked about that her son was continually singled out by his teacher and made fun of in front of his class. He started a new school, but the experience made him very hesitant, even with this fresh start. What does that tell me? It happens. It doesn't have to even be the teacher. It could be a teacher's aide. It could be a paraprofessional. It could be a bus driver. It could be a coach. But teachers do bully students. And I've had several cases where kids have told me they didn't want to go to school because it was so unpleasant because the way the teacher and the way the aide made it for them, or the athletic department made it for them, it was unpleasant. Someone said she talked to the teacher first. Okay. One woman said, Amy T., who's both a mom and a teacher, said that parents should give teachers the benefit of the doubt and that a good teacher will not let feelings for the parents affect interaction with the student. She advises speaking directly with the teacher before talking to other parents or going above the teacher's head. These things can make a teacher defensive, Amy says, and perhaps more likely to take it out on your child. Another parent, though, says, Rochelle says parents should start by talking to the principal or going to the superintendent. Another Circle of Moms member said, contact the principal and file a formal complaint. What they're saying is stand up. Here's something is that they're also saying schedule a meeting with the principal and teacher and get the teacher's side of the story. You want to protect your child. You also want to hear what the teacher has to say. Get all information that you can. However, I tell us to parents also, there's problems in school where there are teachers involved doing or not doing what they're supposed to be doing, or the school's not doing what they should be doing. Here's what you should be aware of. Detect. Gather information by asking your child for details and examples of what's going on. You also want to ask the teacher, help you understand what your child is describing. So detect. Number 2, document. Keep a contact log. Keep track of emails, phone conversations, and playground encounters. You also, in other words, in Holly B's words, document. Discuss. Schedule a meeting with the teacher. If it doesn't bring results with the principal, the Circle of Mom members say, continue talking until somebody hears you, even if it means going to the school board. Pick it up a notch, go higher. And finally, dissent in writing. File the formal complaint so your concern is documented in the teacher's personal file. In other words, what they're saying here is don't wait. If there's a problem, jump on it early and take it to the next level. Detect, document, discuss, dissent in writing. In other words, be active, parents, be active. Go to the teacher. If you're not getting anything to resolve, go to the principal, then go to the superintendent, go to the school board, but make it happen. Oh, we got a question here. Wow. Okay. We got two questions. Three questions. Oh, it's the same guy. Sorry. Okay, Josh, we got a question from Josh. Will this video be up when stream ends? What should I do? Oh, the bond. I'm sorry. Okay. I had a teacher that bullied. Oh, sorry. He had a different question. Okay. I had a teacher that bullied me. He would tell me that I would amount to nothing before my test I took. The problem was that I saw that as a challenge and would make it my mission to get a good grade. Good for you. Good. Good. I'm glad you took that approach. Good for you. Unfortunately, every kid that I work with has that kind of internal fortitude. But great comment. Yeah, I've had teachers say nasty things to me, that I was stupid, that I was dumb. I'm like, why is this person teaching? I didn't always have the greatest rabbis and the greatest teachers in general. So yeah, when a teacher is talking smack to you, don't let it eat you up internally. Get that good grade, go on to have a successful life. But you shouldn't have to have that happen in the first place. As a teacher, you should be a mentor to students. I know they can be annoying. God, I know that more than anybody. But have respect for the individual. So great question. Thank you. Yes, good job. And congrats for taking that nastiness and making it into something positive. I want to share, though, what parents have said. This is coming from Circle of Moms. They talked about what happened. These are just different comments. I'm showing this now of page after page. I had like 20 pages that got printed out of different stories. Here's what they talked about. Went to adults, no support in school. Daughter went to psych facility due to being bullied. Document. Tell your kid to take self-defense classes. Look out for your kid. Hire an attorney. They call it for your protection info. Child picked on had already had mental health issues, bullied for 3 years. Daughter was hospitalized with a broken femur. Now has nightmares. Nothing done to bully. I mean, these are just comment after comment after comment. By the way, private schools do not have to follow state laws. I read this from different comments. I did not know this. Son bullied for 3 years. This was in a private school setting. Teachers were bullying daughter. School did not help. Advice to a parent: go legal. Don't be embarrassed. Get active. Get political. Another comment: get therapy. More evidence for legal action if your child's being bullied and you could document. Here's another one where a child had tooth knocked out. Principal failed to act, did not act at all. Take legal action. You hear a lot of legal action stuff. Kids, this is a long story about a person's about a father, that kids who get bullied often act out in rage. It does happen. Hence the video. Guy was talking about that Token did. He said this. He talked about his father attacking a bully that was telling. This was in the 60s. That was telling the kids he was going to kill his brothers. Killing the father was going to kill his brothers. The dad waited for this guy and basically just beat him up really badly. This was in like middle school. Kids who get bullied often act out in rage. Yeah, the dad had enough, and that was the end of that bully. So. Just telling you about it. Here's another comment. Don't be afraid to move your child. Don't rely on law enforcement. They're not going to get involved. Another comment. Be prepared for no action. And again, be aware about private schools. Honestly, I had like 50 pages of comments from parents who either were advising other parents or parents talking about their situation. So when I read 160,000 kids are not going to school every single day, it's not just one kid, isolated kid. It's a lot of kids. It's a lot of bullying going on. And parents, you have to be aware. I've had parents say things to me like, you know what, Bruce, I didn't realize, I didn't think it was going to be a problem. I wasn't sure about this. I didn't want to act. I didn't want to cause waves. What do you got? Why are you afraid? Afraid of what? Your kid's life is at stake. What happens in these formative years from first grade to 12th grade, from 6 to 18, those 12 years are often going to determine what kind of success your child's going to have. And if your child's being bullied, harassed, fondled, it's inappropriate. And it's not your kid's fault that this other person has clearly a behavioral issue or a deep-rooted anger issue that the only way they can get through their day is to, humiliate other people that are weaker and smaller than them. That's a problem. If I don't want to shock people. Not every kid's going to be a football star, 6'3", 240. Not every girl's going to be some perfect-looking cheerleader to be homecoming queen. Kids come in all shapes and sizes, white, black, brown, and yellow. Some in wheelchairs, some wearing hijabs, some wearing a yarmulke, some who have IEPs, some who have problems with social control. They come in all varieties. They could be like 5'1". They could be 250 pounds. They could be in oxygen tanks. Kids today, a huge variety of kids are going to school. English might not be their first language. So they have to go through the day trying to get through the day, and they got to worry about people thumping them, whether it's a gang or a bully or a clique of kids or angry girls. That's not your child's problem. They're there to get an education and move on in life. And if it's not happening, you got to step in. And all those parents were like, pull your kid out, put them in a different school setting, get legal action. Don't be passive. I've had parents say to me, I wish I would have done something earlier. That's what I'm telling you right now at this webinar. Don't wait. Get active. Don't wait. A lot of times the school gives you the impression that they're going to be your friend. I'm not knocking the school district. Let me clarify something. A lot of times the schools go above and beyond to try and help kids out. But as you can see from these comments, a lot of times they don't. They sweep it under the rug. They don't want to report that they have violent incidents in their school where kids get their femur cracked, where a kid loses a tooth, because then they look bad on their reports about school violence. So things get shuffled. You got to be careful about that stuff, and that's why you got to have a good rapport with your kids. The more your kids talk to you, the more you can go to bat for your kids. One thing schools hate, I know if I used to teach a million years ago, is parents that are actively involved in their children. They're like, whoa, the squeaky wheel to a certain extent does get to grease, so don't back off. Now, okay, I'm getting close to the end of the hours. I tend to go really, really short, really, really close to the edge. I only got about 10 minutes left. So here we go. What is the end result of bullying? Where does it all come down to? Okay. I live in Las Vegas. This is the Las Vegas Review-Journal, as you can see. This is the day Burt Reynolds passed away. All right, sorry, Burt. But read the column here. CCSD may settle cases. Right here, you can see the headline. What is it about? This came from September 7th of this year, only about a month ago. The district will pay $5 million to two anonymous victims of Jeremiah Mazzo, a former music teacher who pleaded guilty to attempted lewdness with children after students at Hayden Elementary School in North Las Vegas told police he molested them. Trustees could also approve $2.05 million for a third person identified as claimant Doe 3 on the meeting agenda. The payments would be among the largest ever paid by the district over sexual misconduct. Wow. That's a lot. I didn't even get into sexual harassment of teachers to students, sexual abuse. Crazy, that stuff goes on. It's a huge problem here in Las Vegas. And there was another case. The school board could also authorize a $700,000 settlement for Jason and Jennifer Lambert at its meeting next Thursday. Why? The couple sued the district in 2014 following the death of their daughter, 13-year-old Haley Lambert, who took her own life after facing bullying at White Middle School in Henderson. The lawsuit alleged that the school officials failed to inform the couple about a complaint entered into the district's bullying website, violating state law and depriving them of their opportunity to help their daughter. Haley's family received no information regarding the humiliation and suffering she was enduring, the complaint stated, nor did the family have the opportunity to access any counseling or intervention services for Haley. And when her death sparked the creation of Haley's Law, which created the Office of Safe and Respectful Learning in the state's Department of Education. So here you got two recent cases where the school district is going to be laying out possibly 7 million plus to settle just 4 cases, 3 kids being sexually abused, and one girl, I believe, she killed herself, horrible story, over rampant bullying that the parents claimed that the school did not inform them of anything that was going on. And because of this, they were horrified that their daughter felt that she had no choice but to kill herself. And what I'm sharing with everyone watching this, so we cut down to the last couple of minutes, is that they're paying $7 million. If someone would have recognized that this music teacher was molesting children sexually and said something about it, again, not being afraid to share, this could have been avoided. And if one teacher or administrator would have said about this poor girl, Haley, hey, let me stand up for this kid and say, this is unacceptable. This is not allowed. I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. I'm going to hold people accountable. Maybe today she'd be alive. And when you see her picture, she's a cute little girl who's no longer here. And devastation to the parents, because as the parents said, had we known what was going on, we would have done something about it. So in conclusion, what I'm telling people is this. Parents, you are on the front lines. Your kid's safety is in your hands. You got to be stable. You got to be there for them. And kids, I want you to feel you can talk to your parents about anything that's bothering you in school. It's not just kids that do these crazy things. It's adults as well. And the more you share and the more you don't keep things hidden, the more these things come out to light quicker. And so many times there's so many cues that I see when I talk to kids. They'll say things like, I was bullied, I'm being bullied, I was bullied. And I bring it up to the parents' attention. They're like, wow, I didn't know. I wish I would have known. Well, where were you for those 2 years, for those 3 years when middle school or high school was just virtual misery for your kids? It doesn't make any sense. You got to be aware. It comes in all forms. So in conclusion, people are going to be watching this video. I want you to feel you can have the comfort and the ability to share stuff. And it goes both ways. Parents, when your kids come home, what did you do in school? How did school go today? And kids, if things are going wrong, and parents, be alert. If things are not what they should be, if they're spending a lot of time at home, they're not going to school, constantly saying I'm sick, something is wrong. If they're looking like they're unhappy, if you see them crying, if they're on their phone constantly, be aware of what's going on, what is happening. Be aggressive. And don't let, just the school saying to you, oh, it's no big deal, kids will be kids. That's not the case anymore. And let your kids know also if there's anything going on where they feel they're being bullied. I know a lot of times there's always that humiliation, that shame. I can't believe someone said to me something horrible about me. I should die. I should kill myself. I'm fat. I'm ugly. I'm stupid. I'm just hoping that one kid who's watching this tonight, or one parent that's watching this tonight will say, you know what? Let me check my kid's, YouTube channel. Let me check what my kid's getting on with his instant messages. Just get that openness. Bullies and violence and degradation, humiliation only work well in shadows. That's how these people operate. When you bring things out to light and expose things, that's when things start to get better. That's why we picked this song. So we did this webinar because it's such a huge problem for us in the work that we do in the agency that I work for, the agencies where I see bullying and I see the effects that it has forever. It's just lasting and it goes on and on and on. So with that, I don't think we have any other questions. We got another question. Wow. Another thing that parents, same guy. Thank you, Josh. Another thing that parents need to know about bullying is that having a sibling does not always help. Your sibling will sometimes ignore you, act like you don't even exist. Man, dead on. particularly if you have a child with two siblings and one's in special ed or one has special needs. You're embarrassed. Like, oh my God, like if I go to bat for him, that they're gonna pick on me. So let me just kind of isolate myself. But hey, siblings, try and stand up for your other sibling that's maybe lacking in certain areas where needs help. That's a great comment, though. A lot of times the feeling is like, I don't want to be involved. That's going to hurt my cool factor or make me feel stupid or embarrassed. So I don't want to be involved in this stuff. I'm going to stay away. No, 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 no. It does happen, though. So that's a great point. You got a teen queen and you got a guy that's in a self-contained classroom. Two very, very, very different worlds socially. Jock can't catch a football. I get that stuff. So be aware that just because you have a sibling in school, protect your son, protect your brother, protect your daughter, protect your sister, protect your little brother, doesn't always work. Got to be aware of that. A lot of times kids are on their own little islands if you have more than two going to the same school. She's in 4th grade, he's in 7th grade. He's a freshman, she's a senior. She might be insecure about her own self as a senior. And then comes a freshman brother who is an embarrassment, acts silly, passes gas, doesn't know how to act in a crowd. That's a problem. So just be aware, because you have two siblings at the same school does not mean they're going to be looking out to protect each other or they're going to go to each other. And a lot of times, and it's a great question again, a great comment, I've had kids say to me that I'm being bullied. I said, well, do you tell your sister or your brother? I was embarrassed to. I was ashamed to. I didn't want to drag them in. I didn't want to get them involved. I didn't want them to feel they had to fight my battles. I took it alone. I got thumped on the bus. So this stuff does happen. So great comment, great question. Josh, thank you for being our questionnaire of the of the webinar. We appreciate you very, very much. Please continue to watch and comment. We appreciate it. And we thank you for having, we always tell people, the courage to come on to these webinars that we're doing, even our comments from our regular videos, and really express themselves in a very open and naked way. I'm constantly floored by people's honesty and courage in doing so. And anytime if I feel I'm helping one person, hey, you know what? That's one person can start it from a second person, a third person, and let it, in a sense, go viral on a parenting level or on a child level. So please, 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 we appreciate every comment, every thought. So again, Josh, giving you a thank you for having the courage and the guts to share your thoughts and perspectives. Thank you again. Okay, we're just about wrapped up. We're just about done with time, so I'm going to be concluding. There'll be more of these coming. More hybrids for parents and children to watch together, different types of adult settings. Again, this relates to teachers, school administrators, school police. You guys got a huge role as well in what you see happening around you. So these are kind of things you want to start getting more of a group collective that you can watch as a family unit, from grandparents down to siblings to young children, or a group of teachers or a group of school police officers. Be aware, look for these kind of somatic complaints, see what's going on with clicks, look for those blind spots, be proactive, be aggressive. And this for now, man, and just watch your social media stuff. Let's all come together and try and do what we can to make school fun for kids and not have them stay home and, in a sense, start off their life miserable and take that into adulthood. This is Bruce Mufson, Sunridge of Nevada. A pleasure as always. Comment, view. We want to hear your thoughts and more videos to come. Thank you. Have a great one.